Welcome back to ZenDrowse, where sleep comes gently through stories that soothe the mind and quiet the heart. Tonight's story is about time, about the rhythm of patience, the cost of rushing, and how sometimes waiting brings the most meaningful rewards. So settle in, breathe softly. Let's begin. There was a small town nestled in a bowl of hills where fog came down each morning like a soft grey blanket and didn't lift until midday. In the center of this town stood a tall, elegant clock tower, its chimes steady, its hands always moving in perfect, deliberate silence. The people of the town didn't just tell time by the tower, they trusted it. It was the heartbeat of the place, steady as breath, as reliable as sunrise. And the one who kept it running was Master Holden, the clockmaker. Holden was known for being quiet, slow-spoken, and almost impossibly precise. He moved like time itself, with intention never rushed, always present. Every morning he unlocked the heavy oak door beneath the tower, climbed its winding staircase, and tended to the intricate gears and weights that turned the great face of the clock. He had done this for nearly 50 years, but he wasn't alone anymore. He had an apprentice, a boy named Nico, just 16, full of questions, energy, and the urgency that comes from youth. Nico was clever, eager, and always moving just a little too fast. He wanted to learn everything. Now, one morning, as they stood in the tower's highest chamber, oiling a delicate chain pulley, Nico asked, "Master Holden, when will I be ready to take care of the tower on my own?" Holden smiled without turning. "When you stop asking how soon." Nico blinked. "But I already know all the parts. I've studied the gears. I've helped clean the escapement wheel. I'm ready." Holden tapped the side of the gear gently with a cloth. Knowing the parts is not the same as understanding the rhythm. Nico frowned but said nothing. That afternoon, while Holden was away tending to an old pocket watch in his home, a small group of townspeople stopped by the base of the tower. They were hosting a festival that weekend, and they wanted the chimes to play something special, a melody. "We'll need the gearing adjusted," they explained, "just for the day, something festive." Nico saw his chance. "I can do it," he said confidently. "I've watched Master Holden. I know the timing mechanisms. It'll be ready by morning." They thanked him. He climbed the tower steps quickly, breath racing with pride. At the top, he opened the casing and looked at the gearing with practiced familiarity. He adjusted a timing cam, tightened the bell regulator, rewound the main spring. It felt exciting, important to be trusted. But in his excitement, Nico moved too fast. He skipped a check, and he didn't notice that the left-hand cog in the melody array was half a click out of alignment. He climbed down with a smile on his face. The next day at noon, the square was full of people. Musicians, bakers, children with painted cheeks. The mayor gave a short speech. Everyone raised their heads as the clock prepared to chime its new tune, and it did. For a few notes it worked, and then clang, clang, crack. A shudder ran through the tower as a timing lever misfired, jolting the bell hammer into a jam. The chime stuttered. A gear spun wildly. The song collapsed into mechanical groans. The crowd fell silent. Smoke curled faintly from the top of the tower, and Nico's heart dropped into his stomach. That evening, Holden returned to the tower without a word. He climbed the steps slowly. Nico followed behind, small and pale. Together they examined the damage. Nothing catastrophic, just misalignment, stress on the teeth of 2 gears, and a cracked lever that would take days to refit. Holden said nothing. He only worked. Finally, after an hour, Nico said quietly, "I thought I was ready." Holden paused. "You were ready to learn?" Nico nodded, ashamed. Holden placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do you know how long it takes a tree to grow?" Nico blinked. "Years, decades," Holden said. "And yet you don't see it rushing, just growing. Every day, a little more, a little stronger." He walked over to the cracked lever. "The same is true for understanding, for trust, for skill." "But I wanted to help," Nico whispered. "You did," Holden said. "And now you'll help repair. That's the work too." Over the next 3 days, Nico worked slower than he ever had before. Not out of fear, but care. He listened more. He asked less. He watched the way Holden moved, the way he paused before adjusting a screw, the way he waited for the gears to settle before rebalancing weight. And something began to shift in him. He wasn't just fixing the clock. He was learning to move like it. 1 week later, the melody was tried again. This time, every note struck true. The town clapped, laughed, and continued the festival without a second thought. But up in the tower, Nico sat quietly beside the bell. Chamber, a wrench in his hand and a new awareness in his chest. Years passed. Nico became the new keeper of the tower. He still moved quickly when chasing a kite or laughing with friends. But when he climbed those old oak stairs, he slowed. Every step became a rhythm, every gear a lesson, every repair a reminder. One day, a young girl from the village asked him, "When will I be ready to help take care of the clock?" Nico smiled, warm and slow. "When you stop asking how soon," he said, and together they listened to the steady tick of time, never rushed, always moving, always right on time. Moral of the story: patience leads to better results. Rushing into things can break what's meant to last. But if you wait and learn and breathe, the right moment will come, perfectly timed. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you enjoyed this story and it brought you peace, please like the video. It helps more sleepy souls find their way here. For more calming stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe to ZenDrowse, your sanctuary for sleep. And if this story touched you, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Sleep well, be kind, and we'll see you in the next story.